Guys, there are so much news that is coming out within like a split second. It is difficult to even keep up. Now, as you can see, listen to my voice. I am just now waking up to this, but there's so much going on in WWE, possibly going on in July. It's huge. Now, the brand split is definitely starting to come to fruition. It's a possibility, and they said it was I think the article is on WWE.com as well as the teaser on their Facebook page. They're talking about possibly having GMs of both Raw and SmackDown, and they're talking about SmackDown having a certain type of roster. Now, that's all great. It can make it more interesting. It can go back to how SmackDown was a wrestling show, and it can go back to how Raw was just a storyline show, or they could change that dynamic in general. But let's be honest with you. Anywhere that Shane is going to have a massive amount of success, which means that Shane is going to probably be the GM of SmackDown, and Stephanie is going to go back to Raw. Because honestly, Stephanie, she made it a semi success when she was going up against Eric Bischoff. But Eric Bischoff was a major heel back then. Now it's just going to be her. And since she's the major heel, more than likely she's going to stay on Raw. I highly doubt that Raw is going to be 3 hours because they're not going to be able to cram all that in within 3 hours. And they should go back to two. Especially with Stephanie being the new GM, it's going to turn a lot of people off. And Raw's not going to be watched as much. I really do feel that they're going to put Shane on SmackDown because since Shane's bringing so many ratings and so much money to Raw, they're going to need help with SmackDown. So they're going to send Shane, the person who's bringing the money, to SmackDown to help SmackDown out. And they're going to leave Stephanie at Raw. And pretty much Raw's going to probably tank. That's just my opinion. Because Stephanie is not the most popular person. Besides her not being popular, she has not proven any type of success when it came to Raw in general. Because let's be honest, with her and Triple H running it, well, more than likely with her running it, you can run a company, but it's difficult to run a successful one. WWE has already been successful, but she didn't make Raw successful with the authority routine. And if the authority comes back, it's going to make the ratings tank. So that's probably why Stephanie went back to being passive aggressive instead of just being a flat out heel, because she's trying to make Raw to be successful on her own. And I can get that. But here's another thing. What about the belts? More than likely they're going to split up the belts. Before they actually had a champion go from one area to another. That really would make it more interesting. But it sounds like they're going to have a champion be exclusive only to that brand. Now, the only problem is you can't bring back the undisputed title because the undisputed title has already been fused together with the WWE title. You have the world title and the WWE title fused together to be the WWE World Heavyweight title. It's not the undisputed title. Well, they should have named it that, but other than that, it's already two titles in one. So they can't bring back the undisputed because the undisputed happens to be two belts in one as well, which would really make no sense. So honestly, it would make sense to have the main champ on Raw and the women's champ on SmackDown. Whether or not they're going to actually be able to challenge someone on Raw to get the belt, to bring the belt over to SmackDown, that's fine by me. But the crossovers can get a little bit too much, and it can get a little bit too predictable at times. They need to have each belt stationed on each show. Have the main belt stationed on Raw. Have the women's title stationed on SmackDown, which means that majority of the divas is going to probably go straight to SmackDown. Or they're going to probably have a certain cut on SmackDown and have the divas on Raw challenge the women's champion on SmackDown. And then if they win, then they take the belt to Raw. The same thing like that. It'll be a back and forth war. And I'm fine with that. As long as they don't have the champions go from one area to another. They need to have them stationed on the show and leave them the way it is. But another concern to me actually happened on Triple H's Twitter last night, which is the one thing that bothered me a lot. Now, On his Twitter page, I actually did leave a message with a bunch of my friends because I'm still in shock about all this. And it's about the actual what's going to happen with NXT. And when Triple H left this, I am wondering that NXT may not be anymore. They might get rid of it. According to his Twitter, it said on June 8th, live on the WWE Network, NXT TakeOver, the end. Where do we go from here? Honestly, guys, this don't really look good. NXT was one of my favorite shows because NXT was different. It was different. It was something completely fresh and new. You saw hard-hitting, hard-style type of wrestling. There wasn't really any restrictions or a particular style like what WWE has when you're on the main roster. It was new. It was hard-hitting. It was strong. It was stiff. I loved it. And it had all kinds of wrestlers that come through that actually made a name for themselves. For example, when you had issue when Zack Ryder couldn't get over in the main roster, he went back to NXT and became a tag team together with Mojo Rawley, and he became part of the Hype Bros, and it was really successful. It really did make people take a look at Zack Ryder again. And the same thing with gimmick with gimmick performers, such as the Vaudevillains. The Vaudevillains were way over on NXT, but they're barely getting over as heels on the main roster. And what about Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka? Two of the most strong style, like she's the queen of strong style, he's the king of strong style. And Shinsuke, he's not going to give up his style just for the WWE. So what's going to happen there? With the whole PG thing, there's no way they're going to allow blood. And Shinsuke can draw blood. So what's going to happen there? He is not going to dumb his style down. They're going to, and if he leaves, that's a huge player in the game that they're going to lose. That's another thing. If NXT disappears, that means that everybody is going to go to either SmackDown or to Raw. And honestly, in my opinion, that's a bad idea. The reason why NXT was so popular and it's done so well is because it's different from the main two brands. It's different from SmackDown. It's different from Raw. If they make it a part of the brand split, then I will be really happy with that. I would be. Which means that Triple H is going to be running it. It also means that Stephanie's going to be running Raw and Shane's going to be running SmackDown. I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that. But I just don't want NXT to disappear because NXT is completely different. It's the future. You can tell because people are starting to get tired of Raw. They're tired of 3 hours. They're tired of the same matches night after night. SmackDown's doing the exact same thing. At least with NXT, you have new stars coming out daily. It's always fresh. Sometimes they're legends, whether they're women legends or women's part of a legacy or men part of a legacy going to NXT. You get to see the future happen. So I'm hoping that they're not going to get rid of NXT, and the NXT is a huge moneymaker as well as it being. They have sold out shows practically every single night, and everywhere they go, it is difficult to get an NXT ticket. So that would be stupid on their part to get rid of it. But honestly, I hope that they're not going to do that, but I have seen them make dumb mistakes before. But guys, what is your idea on this? Do you think they're going to get rid of NXT? Do you think they're going to still keep the brand split? Well, they're going to still do the brand split, but how do you think it's going to play out? Do you think that Shane's going to go to SmackDown, or do you think he's going to stay on Raw? I want to know y'all's opinion on this. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Because I'm hoping they're not going to get rid of NXT, because if they do, that would be a really dumb move. But other than that, guys, I want to hear your thoughts. H Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.